Yosemite National Park is known for its beauty, but it has also been the site of tragic deaths. Behind the stunning landscapes are real stories of danger and loss. In this video, we'll look at 5 of the worst deaths in Yosemite's history. Real stories of people who face the ultimate risks in one of nature's most unpredictable places. It was October 14, 1999. Jan Davis, a 60-year-old experienced parachutist, stood atop El Capitan, a 200-foot granite cliff. Along with 4 other base jumpers, she was there to protest the National Park Service's ban on the sport. Base jumping, leaping from fixed points like buildings, cliffs, or bridges with a parachute, is known for its high risks and requires perfect timing to deploy the chute. Yosemite had banned it after multiple fatalities, with 6 deaths reported since 1980. The group's goal was to prove that base jumping could be done safely and challenge the park's strict rules. The plan was simple. Each jumper would land in a designated area, get arrested by waiting rangers, and forfeit their gear, hoping the event would draw public attention to their cause. Jan was no novice. With over 70 jumps in her 16-year career, she was a respected figure in the base jumping community, and the first woman to jump from Angel Falls, the world's tallest waterfall. She often collaborated with her husband, Tom Sanders, a Hollywood stunt photographer on high-profile projects. But this protest was not just another jump for Jan, it was a statement. At 2 p.m., a crowd of about 150 gathered in Yosemite Valley to watch the demonstration. Among them was Tom, ready to film Jan's descent. The first 3 jumpers completed their jumps flawlessly, their parachutes opening smoothly as they glided to the ground. The audience cheered and the mood was celebratory. Then it was Jan's turn. Before the jump, Jan decided to leave her custom-fitted parachute behind to avoid losing it to the rangers. Instead, she borrowed an older parachute, known in the community as a trash bag. The borrowed gear had a ripcord located on the leg, unlike her parachute where the ripcord was on the back. This setup was unfamiliar to Jan, and crucially, the borrowed gear lacked a backup parachute. Jan's jump began smoothly. Witnesses described her exit from the cliff as steady and controlled. But as she descended, it became clear something was wrong. Her parachute didn't open. Cries of "pull the chute" erupted from the crowd below, but nothing happened. For 20 agonizing seconds, she fell until she struck rocks at the base of the cliff. The joyous protest turned into a scene of shock and horror. Tom, who had been filming from below, watched the tragedy unfold through his camera. He slumped over his equipment, devastated. The 5th jumper, scheduled to go next, canceled his jump and hiked down instead. Rangers quickly secured the area, and news of the incident spread globally, casting a shadow over base jumping and its advocates. The tragedy sparked intense debate within the base jumping community. Some blamed the park's policies, arguing that banning the sport forced jumpers to take unnecessary risks, like using inferior equipment. Others criticized the organizers of the protest for allowing Jan to jump into unfamiliar gear. Experienced jumpers stressed a hard truth. Base jumping is inherently dangerous, and personal responsibility is key. Borrowing equipment violated a fundamental rule in the sport, and it cost Jan her life. Online forums like Base Jumping Life Information Network and Communications were flooded with discussions about the incident. Robert Simon, a former Army paratrooper and base jumping pioneer, emphasized that borrowing parachutes was a practice that should never be done. Jan's death left a deep impact on her family and the base jumping community. She was remembered as a trailblazer, a devoted wife, and an adventurer with an unshakable spirit. Her husband Tom later reflected on the moment he realized she was in trouble, noting that her jump appeared clean with no tumbling. But as the trees came into view, it became clear that it was too late to save her. He described the profound loss of his best friend. The protest, meant to show the skill and safety of base jumping, ended as a heartbreaking reminder of the sport's risks. For many, Jan Davis remains a symbol of the balance between adventure and safety, and her story continues to resonate within the base jumping world. On September 27, 2017, Andrew and Lucy Foster, a couple from Cardiff, Wales, were celebrating their first wedding anniversary in Yosemite National Park. They were experienced climbers with a shared passion for adventure and the outdoors. This trip was part of a 3-week holiday, something they had looked forward to for months. But what started as a dream vacation turned into an unimaginable tragedy when a rockfall from El Capitan changed their lives forever. Andrew, 32, and Lucy, 28, called themselves weekend warriors and regularly spent their free time climbing and skiing. Their blog, The Adventures and Thoughts of Andrew and Lucy Foster, showcased their love for nature and outdoor activities, aiming to inspire others to explore. Friends described Andrew as cheerful, kind, and fearless. He worked for the outdoor gear company Patagonia, and Lucy shared his enthusiasm for the mountains. They had prepared for their Yosemite trip by climbing challenging routes in Cornwall and Pembrokeshire. Their adventure began on September 11, 2017, and for weeks they shared photos and updates that captured the beauty of Yosemite and the joy they found in exploring it. On September 27th, they were at the base of El Capitan, one of the most famous rock formations in the world. The couple was scouting the East Buttress route, planning to climb it the next day. At approximately 1:55 p.m., disaster struck. A massive slab of granite, measuring 130 feet by 65 feet and weighing around 1,300 tons, broke loose from El Capitan's face. The rock fell about 650 feet, creating a thunderous sound that witnesses compared to 1,000 freight trains derailing. Andrew and Lucy were directly in the path of the falling rock. In a split-second decision, Andrew shielded Lucy with his own body. When the dust settled, Andrew was found buried under the debris, having lost his life instantly. Lucy, though critically injured, survived due to Andrew's selfless act. She sustained severe injuries, including a fractured skull, and was airlifted to a nearby hospital. Lucy later shared with a friend that Andrew saved her life and that he acted without hesitation. Her survival came at the cost of losing her husband, leaving her with immense grief. News of Andrew's death devastated his family, friends, and the climbing community. Tributes poured in from around the world, celebrating his courage and passion for the outdoors. Patagonia described him as an inspirational individual who brought enthusiasm to everything he did. The rockfall that claimed Andrew's life was one of 7 that occurred on El Capitan's southeast face over 4 hours. A total of 1,300 tons of rock fell that day, according to park officials. Rockfalls are not unusual in Yosemite, which averages around 80 such incidents annually. However, fatalities are rare. Andrew's death was the first rockfall-related fatality in Yosemite since 1999. Witnesses described the event as terrifying. Ryan Sheridan, a climber who captured the collapse on camera, said the scene was unreal and expressed relief that more people weren't hurt. Another climber, Peter Zabrock, witnessed the incident from above. He described the sound as a thunderous explosion and noted that he had climbed past the section of rock that fell just hours earlier. Andrew's final act of shielding Lucy showed his deep love and commitment to her. His bravery ensured her survival, though it left her with the heavy burden of loss. Lucy's recovery had been a long and difficult process, both physically and emotionally. Her father, Brian Rouse, flew to California to support her as she began to heal. The climbing community rallied around Lucy, offering their condolences and support. Yosemite, which had been a place of joy and adventure for the couple, became the site of an unexpected tragedy. While Andrew's life ended far too soon, his selfless act and love for his wife left a lasting impact on everyone who knew him. It was July 13, 2024. Grace Roloff, a 20-year-old college student, stood on the summit of Half Dome with her father, Jonathan. For Grace, this was a dream come true. The iconic granite formation, towering nearly 5,000 feet above Yosemite Valley, had been a long-time goal. The father-daughter duo, who had hiked countless miles together, shared this unforgettable moment. As they admired the breathtaking views, Grace's face glowed with happiness as she expressed her love for her father. Moments like these gave their outdoor adventures deep meaning. However, the celebration soon turned into a tragedy. They began their descent down the Half Dome cables, a challenging section where hikers hold onto metal cables to navigate steep, slick granite. The day had started with clear skies, but suddenly, a loud thunderclap broke the calm. As black clouds rolled in quickly, Jonathan recognized the danger and told Grace they needed to descend immediately. They hurried, but soon got stuck behind slower hikers. Jonathan, always considerate, decided not to push ahead. As rain started to fall, the granite became dangerously slippery. Grace, wearing new hiking boots, noticed the issue and grew worried as she struggled to maintain her footing. Jonathan encouraged her to stay focused and move cautiously. However, the storm intensified, soaking the cables and turning the surface into a hazard. About 3/4 down the descent, the unthinkable happened. Grace's boots lost traction and she slipped. Jonathan later recalled that Grace simply slid off beside him down the mountain. It happened so quickly that he couldn't stop her. Grace fell about 200 feet, landing outside the cable area. Jonathan rushed down the cables, calling out desperately, but there was no response. He repeatedly told her he was there, that he wouldn't leave her, and expressed his love, but received no reply. Unable to reach her due to the steep terrain, Jonathan called 911 and prayed for a miracle. Other hikers joined him in prayer, witnessing his heartbreak. One hiker, Aaron McGlynn, described it as one of the most emotional and courageous moments she had ever seen. Despite his grief, Jonathan stayed calm, holding on to hope that Grace might still be alive. After 3 long hours, rescuers reached Grace. Sadly, they confirmed she had not survived. A coroner later determined that she likely passed instantly from a severe head injury. While devastated, Jonathan found some comfort in knowing she hadn't suffered. Grace was more than an avid hiker. She was a kind and fearless young woman who brought joy to everyone around her. A student at Arizona State University, she was studying to become a teacher while working 2 jobs to support herself. Her father described her as someone who made everyone feel valued, even the quietest member of her basketball team. Her mother, Astria, remembered her as pure joy, while Grace's cousin, Emily Samora, shared how she had brightened many lives and that they had been planning a camping trip together. Grace's tragic fall is one of many incidents on the Half Dome cables. Since 1948, at least 15 people have lost their lives there, with 6 of these occurring since 2006 due to rain making the surface dangerously slippery. Yosemite now requires permits to limit the number of hikers, but the risks remain. Many hikers, eager to complete the climb, underestimate the dangers, especially during sudden weather changes. Jonathan now describes the climb as unnecessarily risky and plans to work with park officials to improve safety. He suggested adding a second set of cables closer to the ground and wooden planks for better footing. While he acknowledged that these changes wouldn't bring Grace back, he believed that making the climb safer would have been something she would have wanted. Grace's story raises questions about the circumstances of that day. What if they had passed the slower hikers? Could they have avoided the storm? What if Grace hadn't worn new boots? Could better traction have saved her? And what if additional safety measures were already in place? These questions may never have clear answers, but they underline the importance of improving safety in high-risk areas like Half Dome. It was a bright and warm day on September 4th, 2018. Among the many visitors exploring Yosemite National Park was 18-year-old Tomer Frankfurter, a tourist from Jerusalem, Israel. Tomer was on a 2-month trip across the United States, a celebratory journey before starting his mandatory military service in Israel. Known for his adventurous nature, Tomer was eager to see the world and make the most of this special trip. During his stay in the United States, Tomer was living with a family friend in Fresno, California. That day, he and his friend visited Yosemite, famous for its breathtaking views and rugged trails. Once they arrived, they joined separate tour groups. Tomer chose to hike the Mist Trail, a challenging 5.4-mile route known for its cliffs and stunning views of Nevada Falls, which rises 594 feet. As Tomer trekked along the trail, he joined a group of hikers from various countries, including Israel and Germany. The group stopped near Nevada Falls to rest and have lunch, enjoying the beauty of the cascading water. Before they left, Tomer had an idea for a memorable photo, one that would stand out among the many pictures shared online. He was inspired by viral photos from Telegraph Rock in Brazil, where an optical illusion makes it appear like people are dangling thousands of feet above the ground. However, Nevada Falls offered no such illusion. The actual drop here was a staggering 820 feet. Tomer handed his phone to a woman in the group and set his backpack aside. Despite warnings from other hikers, he climbed over the cliff's edge and suspended himself above the drop using only his arms. He smiled and posed while the woman took several photos. At first, everything seemed fine, but then Tomer's grip began to weaken. Realizing he was in danger, the group quickly sprang into action. Several hikers rushed to pull him back, grabbing his arms and wrists. However, the intense summer heat had left his skin slippery with sweat, and his strength was fading. Despite their efforts, they couldn't get a secure hold. Witnesses described the tense and terrifying moments as Tomer struggled to hang on. Some turned away, unable to watch, while others shouted for help. 3 hikers lay flat on the rock, straining to pull him back. But inch by inch, Tomer slipped from their grasp. In a tragic moment, he fell. Tomer plummeted 820 feet, landing on the rocky terrain near the Merced River below. The impact was fatal. Witnesses were devastated, many breaking down in tears as they processed what had just happened. Yosemite Park rangers investigated the incident. Ranger Jesse McGahee described it as a tragic accident, explaining that Tomer had been in control until the moment his grip gave out. The hikers who tried to save him were commended for their bravery, but they lacked the tools to prevent the fall. Tomer's story is part of a growing trend linked to risky photo-taking behaviors. A study from the Journal of Family Medicine and Primary Care reported that between 2011 and 2017, at least 259 people worldwide lost their lives in photo-related accidents. Many of the victims were young, with an average age of 23, and the majority were men. Common causes included falls, drowning, and transportation-related mishaps. Michael Giglieri, co-author of Off the Wall, Death in Yosemite, explained that social media has fueled a desire to capture dramatic and daring moments. In the past, people sought experiences for personal fulfillment, but now it was more about recording proof of those experiences. This shift often led to underestimating risks, with tragic results like Tomer's. Tomer's death deeply affected his family and friends in Israel. A bright and ambitious young man, he had graduated early from high school and studied at Hebrew University. His parents were heartbroken over the loss of their son, who had so much potential. Yosemite officials reviewed their safety protocols following the incident. While signs warning visitors to stay away from cliff edges are posted, many people ignore them. Experts note that even with barriers, determined individuals may still take risks. Just a month after Tomer's accident, another tragedy occurred at Yosemite's Taft Point. A couple, Vishnu Viswanath and Meenakshi Murthy, fell while attempting to take photos. Their camera tripod was found near the cliff's edge. Tomer's story highlights the dangers of prioritizing risky photos over personal safety. National parks and other destinations are now exploring ways to educate visitors about the risks involved in such behavior. From warning signs to public awareness campaigns, the goal is to help people prioritize their safety over capturing the perfect shot. It was October 8, 2024. Harry Partington, a 22-year-old traveler from Perth, Australia, was hiking along the challenging 4-mile trail. Known for its steep climb and incredible views, the trail is a favorite among experienced hikers. Harry, an outdoor enthusiast, often shared his adventures on social media, keeping friends and family updated with photos of the beautiful places he visited. That day, Harry planned to reach Glacier Point, a spot famous for its panoramic views of Yosemite's landmarks like El Capitan and Half Dome. Unfortunately, his journey ended in a way no one could have anticipated. The 4-mile trail is a strenuous 9.6-mile round trip with a climb of over 3,000 feet. While it offers breathtaking scenery, it's also risky, especially during bad weather. On this particular day, Yosemite was experiencing gusty winds and sporadic rain, making conditions more hazardous. Harry had made it 2/3 of the way up near Union Point, at an elevation of about 6,300 feet, when tragedy struck. At around 2:30 p.m., strong winds caused a large tree to uproot and fall directly onto the trail. Harry, caught in its path, was struck. The sound of the tree falling was described by nearby hikers as deafening. A German woman hiking separately was also hit and suffered serious injuries, requiring immediate airlifting to a hospital. Park authorities were quickly informed, and emergency personnel, including paramedics, firefighters, and search and rescue teams, responded swiftly. Helicopters were deployed to the area to assist. Despite their efforts, Harry did not survive the incident. The accident deeply affected the hiking community. The 4-mile trail, established in 1872, has been a popular yet demanding route for many. It is usually closed during the winter months due to dangerous conditions. While the trail was still officially open on October 8th, the strong winds and rain made it dangerous. Following the incident, park officials closed the trail, and over 30 emergency workers cleared the area while redirecting hikers to safer routes. Witnesses recalled the chaos of the day. Kelly Kennedy Bentley, who was waiting at the trailhead for her family, shared how she felt seeing the rescue teams rushing up the trail. It was a terrifying experience for her, until her husband texted to assure her that they were okay. Harry's death was a devastating loss for his loved ones. In Perth, his close friend Victor Markey paid tribute on social media, reflecting on how Harry's love of travel had taken him farther than anyone could reach, but his memories would stay with them forever. He expressed his sorrow, wishing Harry to rest in peace. Yosemite National Park, while stunning, is known for its dangers. Between 2007 and 2023, over 160 deaths were recorded in the park, with falls being the most common cause. The combination of rugged terrain, steep trails, and unpredictable weather creates a challenging environment even for skilled hikers. The 4-mile trail in particular is classified as strenuous, requiring careful navigation, especially during windy or rainy conditions. The tree that fell on Harry was likely a lodgepole pine, ponderosa, or fir, trees common in Yosemite. Though typically strong, such trees can become vulnerable due to factors like weather or age, making them susceptible to falling during storms. Harry's adventurous spirit and love for nature left an impact on those who knew him. He was not only a passionate hiker, but also an award-winning referee for Australian rules football. His dedication and enthusiasm were admired by many. Friends remember him as someone who inspired others with his sense of adventure and appreciation for the beauty of the natural world. While his passing is a heartbreaking reminder of nature's unpredictability, Harry's memory lives on through the stories and photos he shared. One friend reflected on how life can be unfair, with Harry taken too soon but never forgotten.